Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa, and on this channel we read, discuss, and obsess over books together. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, fall books. So last year I did a fall TBR video and a fall recommendations video. This year I decided to just combine it into one video because I don't have a lot of books on my fall TBR that I either already mentioned in my last video, or B, a lot of books that I'm into right now are just all over the place. So I don't have a lot of fall themed books. I just have books, but I still picked out a few books to discuss with you guys today. So first, we're going to go through my fall book recommendations. I kind of have three categories for each TBR and recommendations. I have some, let's say, like witchy or spooky romance books or fall romance books, some mystery thrillers, and some fantasy books that just, in my personal opinion, fall is just a great time to read fantasy. So yeah, these are a few books that I would recommend that you read in the fall. So first up, I'll talk about the romances. First, we have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. So Ashley Poston kind of writes supernatural-ish rom-coms, and in this specific one, it has to do with a ghost and falling in love with a dead man. So this was super duper cool. Kind of spooky-ish, but I think the theme in general was very much like graveyard, dead people's ghosts. So yeah, would definitely recommend trying this out. Ashley Poston, I love her writing. It's very reminiscent of like other big authors writing, like Abby Jimenez, Lynn Painter, like just that kind of easy writing, Emily Henry. So yeah, I super love this, and I think you would too, and definitely recommend reading in the fall. Next, obviously, we have Not the Witchy Wet by April Asher, and I loved this book. This world is such like a fleshed out witch world in my opinion, and I definitely recommend this book. I actually have the second book to this on my TBR, which I will discuss in a moment, but basically this is having to do with a wolf shifter and a witch, and the entire like witch kind of storyline is really interesting, and just the, like I said, the world building in this and the town was super cool to read about, so I would definitely recommend trying this one out. Next, we have what I feel like are like cult favorites when it comes to like witchy romances, which is the Ex Hex and the Kiss Curse. These are interrelated standalones. It's like the Ex Hex series, I guess, by Erin Sterling, and this one is about, basically her name is Vivi, she's a witch, she has a cousin, and the cousin is in this book, and I'm pretty sure that the like male main characters are brothers, and this is another one where the world was super fun. It's almost like an adult Halloween town. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one as well if you're looking for witchy romances for fall. Moving on to our mystery thrillers. First up, I have a series. This is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a like FBI mystery criminal minds type of series, and I absolutely love this. I ate it up. So if you have like a rainy weekend where you just want to get into a huge mystery series, go for the Naturals series. I personally loved it. I rated all of these, I think, above 4 stars. Like, they were so much fun, and there's even like a little novella, I think, at the end of the last book, and yeah, I just love these so much. So I would definitely recommend these for fall as well. Next, we have some Lisa Jewell books. The first one is None of This Is True. I loved this one. This one had to do with like a podcast situation where this girl was doing a podcast, and this other woman like kind of found out about it and wanted to be on it and like tell her story, and her story ends up being like so outrageous that basically the title None of This Is True kind of comes into play a lot, where it's hard to believe what you're reading while you're reading it, and you never know what is true. Super fun. One of my favorite Lisa Jewell novels, unlike any other novel that she's ever written. Another Lisa Jewell novel that I loved was Then She Was Gone. This is also very reminiscent of like a fall type of book. You can see with the cover it being like the branches, the trees with the leaves falling. I also really liked this book. The story was super cool. It's this mom who's like looking for her daughter who just disappeared out of nowhere, and the twists in this were so much fun. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this one as well. Next, we have a few Riley Sager books. So the first one here is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This was a really just quick, fun audiobook or book to read about, basically, it's an unreliable narrator where this girl can't tell if like she's dreaming or actually experiencing something, because her daydreams become very like real and they look like movies or something like that. So this one was very interesting from a psychological point of view, as well well as like a thriller. I thought it was fun. I think the ending was a little bit ludicrous in this book, but overall the book was super fun to read, so I would still recommend it. Next we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and this is a total fall book in my opinion. First of all, it takes place in like what looks like a haunted house, and this is the one where this nurse is taking care of this lady who is basically like she's had a bunch of strokes and can't move or do anything for herself. So this nurse is taking care of her after her last nurse kind of just like cut the scene. And her name is Lenora, and she has been accused of murdering her entire family. So this nurse ends up trying to communicate with her like through a typewriter or something like that, I believe. Was it a typewriter in this? Yes, a typewriter. And she starts to reveal parts of her life to the nurse, and the nurse is just like, what is going on? So that's the entire premise of this book. And again, the twists in this were amazing. This is one of my favorite Riley Sager books. I thought it was so good. Another Riley Sager book, The House Across the Lake. This is another one where it's kind of unreliable narrator, where this narrator, she's A, very nosy, and B, I don't remember if she like had drinking problems or what it was, but basically she's thinking that she sees like a murder take place in the house across the lake from her, and she's supposed to be at this lake like trying to like escape from her life and just whatever. So you're kind of going back and forth between like her seeing things, nobody believing her, and it was so much fun. Again, the twists, like Riley Sager just has really great twists, and I love his writing. So definitely again recommend this book as well for the fall. Even though it's like House Across the Lake, which makes you think like summery, I'm pretty sure this takes place in the fall as well. And the dedication or whatever in it here says, I think he did it, but I just can't prove it. Taylor Swift, No Body, No Crime. If that's not a reason to read this book, I don't know what is. Okay, next we have two Karen Slaughter books. So first of all, we have Pieces of Her, which follows this girl who finds out a bunch of stuff about her mother and her mother's past, and it kind of takes you down this really long road of like cults and a whole bunch of stuff. And to be honest, it was interesting. I accidentally bought the large print version, so don't mind this. It was an interesting book, really liked it, and I do recommend it also because Girl Forgotten, the second kind of book that follows the same girl, Andrea, I loved it. Like the entire mystery behind this was so much fun to me, and I don't know, it was like the perfect level of just like it kept me entertained. There's dynamic characters. It was just a lot of fun. So I would definitely recommend reading both of these, to be honest. Moving on to fantasies. So first up, we have Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I put this in the fantasy section obviously because it's based in Wonderland, right? Alice in Wonderland? Yes, it's based in Wonderland, and this was another one that was just so much fun. The Alice in Wonderland like references and characters and scenes that came up in this was so much fun. I think it's a perfect fall read, it being based in like this fun little fantasy world, and I would actually recommend this to anybody who hasn't read fantasy even, because if you have read or watched Alice in Wonderland ever, you will love this book. Well, obviously if you loved Alice in Wonderland. Next we have a little start of a series. So as you guys may know, Onyx Storm is coming out in January. So what a good time to start Fourth Wing and Iron Flame this fall, right? I personally might do a reread of this fall because I feel like I lost all the information from this series because I was already confused coming out of this book. So yeah, super excited for that obviously, but I do actually recommend both these books. I think the world is so dynamic. I love the dragon characters. I love Violet's main character, and holy crap, does Rebecca Yarros know how to write cliffhangers. Or not cliffhangers necessarily, but just leaving you on like a, ooh, like where are we going? Like you immediately want to read the next book even though it's not out yet. So definitely would recommend these. And now is definitely a great time considering the third one is coming out, so you'll have some satisfaction after reading them. Next we have two series that are kind of interconnected, so I will explain. I'll just bring them up. Anyway, first one is Dance of Thieves and Battle of Thieves. I feel like everybody has read this one first, but let me pause for a second and say my personal opinion is to read the Remnant Chronicles first. So this book is this book series, this trilogy, is based in the same world as Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves, but the only character that is in Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves is the queen from this book, or this book series. So a lot of people, and myself included, read Dance of Thieves, Vow of Thieves first, and they end up being really confused because there's like little to no world building at all. It just goes straight into all of these terms that you're kind of like, what is that? Like, what is a Breton? What is Vena? What is all this? So what this does is introduce you to all of that, introduce you to our queen. I loved this series. The first book, I'm pretty sure, is a love triangle, and it is just like it's so good, and there's a twist throughout it that kind of just like, you're like, whoa, okay, definitely recommend these. And then with that comes my favorite fall winter. First of all, these just scream Christmas to me for some reason. I don't know if it's because I read them around Christmas, but I love this cover so much. Second of all, I don't know what it is. The world is very reminiscent of like Game of Thrones to me for some reason. I don't know why. Just like the kind of territories and stuff like that. And for that reason, it just feels very fall. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like fall. You know how like Harry Potter feels like fall? This feels like fall. So I recommend you read these. And another genre of books still within fantasy that always feel like fall to me are Greek mythologies. So I have 3 that I'm going to recommend to you, and they're all feminist retellings. The first one that we have here is Circe. I feel like everybody recommends this one, by Madeline Miller. You follow Circe, the daughter of Helios, the god of the sun, and you kind of just follow her throughout this journey where she's banished to an island and she encounters all of these different people and monsters and just kind of finds herself and overcomes everything that everyone has ever said about her. And it's a very inspiring story, and I really loved it, and I would definitely recommend reading it in general, but especially in the fall time, because Greek mythology just screams fall to me. I don't know why. Next, we have Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. This is another one that I absolutely loved. I knew a little bit about this story, but not a lot, and reading it through Clytemnestra's eyes and point of view, and just I don't know, just learning so much about her and her husband and her family, and the way that it is completely contrary to what history has told us about her was just super inspiring, and I loved this book so much. And again, Greek mythology screams fall to me, so I recommend it 100%. And lastly, for recommendations, I have Stoneblind by Natalie Haynes. Something about Medusa and her snakes screams fall to me, and this was another feminist retelling where we learn about Medusa, where she came from. I feel like the story around her is very much like she is just evil and wants to kill everybody and turn everybody to stone, and she's very manipulative and seductive, but that's not the story behind her, and nobody really ever talks about that. So this goes through kind of a whole bunch of POVs and third-person narrations to give the complete story of how she came to be Medusa, and yeah, I loved it. I would definitely recommend you try it out. That is all of my recommendations. So now I'm going to quickly discuss my TBR. So first, for spooky witchy romances, we've got Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Ashers. This is the second book to the Not the Witch You Wed series, or book that I had mentioned earlier. This one, I'm pretty sure these are about 3 sisters. So it's called the Supernatural Singles series, and this is about 3, like each book is about a sister. So this one is following Rose, and I'm pretty sure she's dating like a half demon in this. So these are just like more than just witchy romances, like they are also like werewolf, vampire, whatever romances as well. So yeah, I don't even really want to like read the full synopsis because I want to keep this a surprise for myself, but this is on my TBR and I'm super excited. Next, we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Everybody had read this right when it came out, but I wanted to save it for fall. It just felt very fall for me because it's like vampires and werewolves, so I want to save fall, so I am. And I feel like keeping an Ali Hazelwood, like I love her writing. It's so easy and fresh and just like funny. Like she genuinely makes funny jokes, so I'm excited to see how she does with like a spooky witchy vampire werewolf romance. Lastly, for romances, we've got The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. So as you can see, this was kind of like on brand with the kind of TBR as well. Ashley Poston person. This one is about like a magical kind of apartment. Seems very like paranormal, fantasy, fall to me, so I want to read it. I've been wanting to read it all summer as well, just because it was so intriguing to me, but I feel like fall is gonna be the time when I do it, and yeah, just give it a go and see how it is, because everybody has loved this book. I think another witchy romance that I want to read that's coming out in October is The Wedding Witch by Erin Sterling. So that is the third book to the Ex Hex and the Kiss Curse. I have no idea what it's about. I'm assuming it has to do with a wedding and the final brother in that like interconnected series, but yeah. So I have that on my TBR. I think I've already pre-ordered it for when it comes out, because I've been so excited for that since 2 years ago or last year, because it was supposed to be released last year and it wasn't. Okay, moving on to mystery thrillers. The first one I have here is a Grady Hendrix book. So this is How to Sell a Haunted House. I read the Final Girls support group and I loved that book. Like literally up until like the last like 50 to 100 pages, I felt like it kind of just got like a little bit ridiculous. Whole ending, and just like I just really wanted it to end, but leading up to that I feel like it was so much fun. And yeah, again, no idea what this is about, but I love haunted house movies, haunted house stories, so I think this will be super duper fun. Paranormal, ghosties, all that fun stuff. Next we have like literally 5 Riley Sager books, because I love Riley Sager books, so I'll just name all of them really quickly. First we have Lock Every Door, which I believe is based in like an apartment building where somebody either gets killed or an apartment sitter goes missing in this building. And I wonder what, wow, there's more than one apartment sitter? That sounds sketchy. So yeah, apartment. This one is The Last Time I Lied. I'm guessing this has to do, oh yeah, this is with like a camp thing. There's a bunch of teenagers at camp. One of them sneaks out of the cabin and she ends up like a bunch of years later in the same cabin or something like that. So yeah, it has to do something with her past, lying about it. It sounded really interesting. Kind of reminded me of like Pretty Little Liars, if you know what I'm talking about, that like last season. So yeah, I think this will be fun. Next we have Final Girls by Riley Sager. I feel like this is self-explanatory. This is about a bunch of final girls, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to read too much into it because I've heard really good things about this one. Home Before Dark. This is like a ghost story in this girl's dad's like old house. That's why there's a house on the front. So I feel like this one will also be really, really fun. And last Riley Sager book that I have here is Middle of the Night. It's his new release. Again, I have no idea what this is about. Don't want to know. I feel like it's about like a neighborhood or a neighbor or something like that. Something clearly happens in the middle of the night. And yeah, I love the cover on this. Like this screams fall to me. The green and black is just so like Halloween-y fall to me. So yeah, got like 5 Riley Sager books that I want to read. And next we have 2 Ashley Winstead books. So the first one is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. My best friend Rowan read this and she loved it. Said it was a really, really good thriller, mystery, blah, 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 blah. A little bit of higher academia, I guess, because it has to do with like university stuff. So, or dark academia, I mean. So yeah, I feel like this one would be fun. And then I saw this one, Midnight is the Darkest Hour, and I think I had read the synopsis and it sounded really, really cool. It's about like a small town that has like a killer that's like kind of haunting the town. There's like a bunch of myths in this town. I loved the last sentence in the synopsis. It says it's about the monstrous work of being a girl in this world, and my gosh, is that so true? So yeah, definitely want to read this one this fall as well. Another mystery thriller that I thought screamed fall was The St. Ambrose School for Girls. A, falls when school starts up. School settings are just fall to me. And B, it is a mystery thriller. So somebody like ends up dead, a bunch of scandal unfolds, and I'm guessing like these girls in this have to deal with it. And it says completely original, quietly chilling. Mean Girls meets We Were Liars. And I really like the We Were Liars book and like how it played with memory and mystery and like the twists in it. And Mean Girls is just like the best movie. So I feel like this would be really, really fun as a mystery. Next, we're moving on to like 3 fantasies that I have on my TBR, because last year I had talked about like Throne of Glass and Crescent City and like a whole bunch of fantasy series that I wanted to read, and I still haven't read a lot of them, so I didn't want to repeat those obviously. So I'll just talk about these 3 fantasy books really, really quick. So first we have Legends and Lattes. This just screamed fall to me. I love the cover of this, and it is like a bit of like a fantasy based off of the synopsis. I just it's just like, it's weird because it's marketed almost and like packaged like a romance book, and I'm sure that there is romance in this, but I've also seen that it's like a huge comfort read for people, so I think this could be super fun. Next we have a Greek mythology book. This is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is following the Princess of Crete, and I had heard this girl's name in, I think, Clytemnestra, and it instantly got me interested in reading this book, so I had picked it up, and I don't want to read too much about the synopsis because I want to go into it kind of not knowing a lot and really read through the feminist point of view, so that is also going to be on the TBR. And lastly, I really want to start The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I've had this on my TBR for literally ever. My best friend is obsessed with the series, and I haven't read it yet, and it's huge, so I want to read it and just, you know, just get the party going, find out what the hype is, and I've just heard amazing things about it, and something about it screams recent to me. I don't know what it is, which just screams fall to me, so love me some Bat Boys. Anyway guys, that is all the books that I wanted to talk about for fall. I freaking love fall themed books, so please comment down below any fall themed books that are on your TBR, that are recommendations that you have. I love fall themed books. I love mystery thrillers, fantasies, and just like witchy romances and like paranormal romances specifically. So fall is like my prime time for reading. I have a reading goal of 100 books to reach by the end of the year, and I have like 4 months left, and I have 40 books to read. So I think fall is gonna be the time to get it done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below all that stuff like I mentioned before. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye.